Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, we will be talking about why 2023 is the year to apply for your green card. If you have been waiting, putting it off, well, I'm going to give you 3 reasons that this year is the year to do it. Don't wait. Don't think about it. It's the year. Okay. I am Lilian Chukura. I am the lawyer at Lily Legal. We do immigration law. We help clients get green cards and citizenship for themselves and their families. If that sounds interesting to you and you want to learn more about green cards and citizenship, feel free to subscribe to my channel, like this video, share this video. And if you would like to know if you qualify for a green card, right? I say 2023 is the year to apply, but you may be sitting there and you're wondering, do I qualify for a green card? Well, go ahead, click the link in the description to this video, schedule a strategy session. Let's find out, right? Let's find out if you qualify so that you can take advantage of these 3 things that I will be talking about today, okay? So let's jump right in. This is most likely going to be a shorter video because I literally have 3 things. I am not playing with you. This is not going to be a long drawn out thing. So number one, interviews are being waived. USCIS is waiving interviews. They're waiving more interviews today than they were a year ago. So that means if you are able to present documentation proving your relationship, especially if you're filing based on marriage, right? You're married to a U.S. citizen filing for your green card. USCIS is more likely to waive your application going to an interview if you give them enough documentation of your relationship. So don't just fill out the forms and send that in as if that's enough. No, your marriage certificate does not prove to USCIS that your marriage is real. And you'll be surprised how many people send in their marriage certificate only as if that's enough to show that your marriage is real. In USCIS's view, anyone, okay, anyone can go and get a marriage certificate because most of the time, when you go to get a marriage certificate, they're not asking you, to prove that your relationship is real before you get that. So a marriage certificate alone does not prove that your marriage is real. So if you want your interview waived, you need to present documentation to show that your marriage is real. Okay. And how would you know that USCIS wants to waive your interview? Well, you will get a notification. So if you filed your application and you did not include the medical report, okay, if you filed your green card application and you did not include the medical report, guess what? If USCIS wants to waive your interview, they must request that you send in that medical report. So that's a really good way of knowing that USCIS is thinking about waiving your interview. Because if they send you a request for evidence asking only that you send in the medical exam report, oh, you're in a good position to have your interview waived. Now, there is a difference between getting a request for evidence for the medical report versus getting a deficiency notice for the medical report. So those are 2 different things. Everyone that sends in their green card application without the medical report will get the deficiency notice. But most people that will have their interview waived will get the request for evidence asking specifically for the medical report. So that's how you know the difference, right? Deficiency notice is anyone, okay? It doesn't say anything specifically about your case other than your medical report is not in file, right? It's not on your file. But when they ask for that request for evidence, that's when you know. That's the clue, okay? So when they do that, run get the medical report done, send it in, and just wait for a response. And most of the time, the response is, congratulations, you have your green card. Okay? So that's number one. Interview being waived is a great reason to file now. Okay? And not wait. The second reason is, if you watched my video from last week, you know USCIS is USCISing, okay? They want to increase the fees. They want it to cost more for you to apply for a green card. They want it to. So right now, when you're applying for a green card, you can include the work authorization and the travel permit for the same price. You're not paying extra for the work permit or the travel permit. So USCIS, in their proposed new fees, wants to have you pay for each one separately. So not only are they increasing the fees on those separately, but they also want you to pay the fees for those 3 forms separately. So today, you pay the green card application fee for all 3 forms. But if the new fees are put in place, you will be paying for each of those forms individually, which is going to cost way more for you to get your green card, work authorization, travel permit, if you want to get all of that. Okay. And why should you apply for a work authorization with your green card application? Because, okay, in most places, green card applications are taking up to a year and a half, right? Work authorizations are taking 8.5 months. Okay. So if your green card if you only apply for a green card without the work authorization, you must wait for that green card to be approved before you can work, right? But if you file for the work authorization, you can work before you even get your green card, right? You can have that work authorization approved first before you even get to the green card being approved. And with a work authorization, why does that matter if you have it? Not only can you work, you can get a license, right? You can get your social security number. So those are the benefits of applying for a work authorization with the green card application, because you're not paying a separate fee. USCIS knows this, okay? They know that there's benefits to applying for both at the same time. So when they are increasing the fees and telling you, not only are we going to increase the fees, now you're going to pay for those 2 forms separately. They know. So if you want the option of having a travel permit and a work authorization approved while your green card application is pending, and not paying an extra fee, that's the main part, not paying an extra fee for those 2 forms, well, 2023 is the year to apply for your green card, because, okay, right now, the rule that they want to pass is in the comment stage. If you watch my last video, please go and put in your comments, basically asking USCIS not to increase the fees and giving your personal reasons why you think increasing the fees will hurt immigrants and people trying to get their green cards. Okay? So go do that. But if you watch that video, you know that these fees, there's a limited amount of time to make your comments. USCIS will go through and read those comments, respond to some of the comments, maybe take in some of the information and decide to, adjust some of their decisions on the fees. And then they will make a final rule, right? Then they will say, okay, we're not going to raise the fees now, or we are going to raise the fees and these are the rates. So we don't know when that's going to be. So the longer you wait, the more chances you're going to be caught up on the fees being raised on you. Okay. And I tell all my clients this. So if you're waiting and you're one of my clients, fees are going up. Don't wait. Get me your documents so that we can get this filed, because it's just going to cost you more. So that's the second reason you want to apply now and not later. The third reason is a more, this is not a political channel. This is an immigration advocacy channel. So we definitely want to be filing our green card applications, our visa applications during a immigrant friendly administration. Okay. So when it comes to US immigration, whoever's in the White House makes a lot of those decisions, right? Because they control ICE policy. They actually appoint the different heads of USCIS, the different heads of ICE. So it makes a difference. Okay. DHS is under whoever's in the White House. Okay. So it really makes a difference when you are thinking about applying for your green card, that you are also looking at who, is the government more immigrant friendly, or are they less immigrant friendly? And you definitely want to be filing when they are more immigrant friendly, because that's going to make it easier for you, right? Because we have a more immigrant friendly administration, that's why we can have our interview waived, even though, right, we we here, we give them credit when credit is due with the waiving interviews, and then we give them a hard time when it is due, like them trying to raise the fees. Okay. During a time where we know inflation is real, people are dealing with a lot, so this is not the time to raise the fees. So we can criticize and praise where it is warranted. So, however, comma, this is a more friendly administration to immigrants. So this is a better administration to file your green card interview, your green card application in. All right. So if you have questions, put them in the comments. As always, I do respond to your questions. Even if you're watching this on the replay, do not feel like you can't ask me questions. Ask me questions. I want you to be informed. Okay. As an immigrant, I want you to be informed. When I was growing up, I did not have this information. Okay. YouTube was not what it is today, where you can actually listen to actual immigration lawyers give you the honest truth of what's going on. So please ask me questions, because that's what I'm here for. All right. So again, I'm going to go through the top 3 reasons why now, 2023, is the time to file your green card application. So number 1, interviews are being waived. Okay. So if you are filing through your child, so your child is a US citizen and your child is filing for you to get your green card in the United States, the chances of you having your interview waived is way higher, right? Again, this is my personal record, right? Not what may be typical for you. So don't look at what I'm saying and think that yours is going to be the same. So, okay. So when it comes to children of US citizens filing for their parents, in my 7 years of having my practice, I've only had one go to interview. Okay. Most of them are approved without an interview. So do not waste the time being afraid of the interview. You can prepare for the interview. Don't let the interview be the thing that stops you from applying, because you have a better chance of having your interview waived now than you did then. And something else that I noticed is that people are afraid of interviews because they may not speak the language well, they may not speak English well, and they're afraid. You can take an interpreter to your green card interview. You can have an interpreter at your green card interview. So don't let that scare you. Don't let that scare you. But you do have a better chance of having your interview waived today than you did last year. And if you want to have your interview waived in a marriage case, you should be stacking your application with so much documentation of your relationship that USCIS is just like, we don't need to talk to you. We see it, right? So that's really, really important, right? I know people that, you just moved in, you just got married, you just moved in together. You may not have a lot of joint documentation. However, you probably have months and years of text messages, of pictures, of phone records showing that you were communicating, you are in a relationship before you got married. That is still helpful to prove that your relationship is real. Okay, don't let anyone tell you that if you don't have a bank account together that your marriage is not real. That's not true. There's other ways to prove that your marriage is real without a joint bank account. That's just the truth. Okay, so stack your application with those evidence so that USCIS can make a decision about whether your marriage is real from just the documents that they have in front of them. That's the only way they can waive your application, right? That's the only way they can waive the interview, if what they have in front of them is enough. Secondly, you want to lock in the lower application fees, okay? USCIS wants to increase the fees. We don't want them to increase the fees, but if they make a final decision to increase the fees, it is going to cost significantly more for you to apply for a green card once those fees go into effect than it does right now, right? Right now, the green card application by itself, the I-485, is $1,225. If you want to apply for work authorization at the same time, your fee is still just $1,225. If you want to include a travel permit, your fee is just only $1,225. If the new fees are passed, you will be paying a separate fee for each of those three forms. So the green card application will have its own fee, the work authorization will have its own fee, and the travel permit will have its own fee. So you see how that is going to end up costing you more in the long run if you wait. All right. And then lastly, we have a relatively immigrant friendly administration, and you want to take advantage of that. You want to be applying when the administration is immigrant friendly. So take advantage of that. File now, don't wait. And then I always get this question for people outside of the US. Unfortunately, this is not for you, right? This message is not really for you, because yes, having an immigrant friendly administration is helpful for you. However, the interviews are not being waived, right? The consulates, the embassies are now waiving interviews for immigrant visas. They are waiving some for non-immigrant visas, but not immigrant visas, not visas that will allow you to come to the US and get a green card. Those interviews are not being waived at the consulate. So I think one day I will just break down the government structure. So USCIS is under Department of Homeland Security. The embassies are under the State Department. Those are two separate departments, two separate rules. So when USCIS makes a rule about, oh, we're gonna, increase the interviews that we're waiving based on these criterias, that does not mean that the embassy has the same thing, because the State Department does not have to do what the Department of Homeland Security is doing. So that's the short version of the government structure of immigration. So if you're outside of the US and you're applying for a visa at the embassy, your situation is going to be different. This top three things is mostly for people in the US applying for a green card. All right. So one more time, interviews are being waived. You want to lock in the current filing fees before they go up significantly. And the current administration is relatively immigration friendly. So you want to file under a friendly administration. And that's it. If you have questions about this or anything else immigration related, go ahead and put them in the comments. I always go back and respond to those comments. And sometimes the questions are just so good that I do a whole video on it. So go ahead and put your questions in the comments. If you are watching this and you're like, this may be a good time to apply for my green card, but do I qualify for a green card? Should I even apply for a green card? Well, go ahead, call my office. The link to schedule a consultation, a strategy session where we can go through your situation and tell you if applying for a green card is the best option for you. Go ahead, click the link, schedule that session, and we can get you going in that process. As I always say, I am an immigration lawyer. I am not your immigration lawyer. So if you want specific information about your situation, you should be contacting an immigration lawyer. All right. So that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you have gotten this far and you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Share this video, like this video. We really want to make sure that the immigrant community are informed on what's going on. And then next week, join me next Friday, where we're going to talk about the new parole program that the Biden administration has passed for certain countries. Okay, there's 4 countries that can apply for this. It's a Form I-134A. I will be breaking that down, what it means, who can apply, how it works. And I'm going to be breaking that down for you next week. So feel free to join me, bring your questions. Okay. People are already asking me questions about it. So bring your questions. I know you have them. And I will see you next week. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. Bye.